Alright, what is up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris and today I am back with another video here. So today I want to break down the Flyers defense core for this season and going into 2022-23. There's obviously a lot of questions, right? Obviously starting off, you have a whole new system and a whole new coaching staff in play now and how the defense, particularly is going to play. You have a couple new faces and, a couple returning faces in Justin Braun. You get Tony Deangelo. And obviously the biggest question for the Flyers essentially going into this year is Ryan Ellis. You have to figure out what is going to happen with Ellis. How is he going to shape out that whole type thing, right? So you really have to look at this, and I kind of look at this, when breaking this down. Flyers have 8 defensemen right here on per cap friendly. They have the 8 defensemen that are on here: Provorov, Ristolainen, Deangelo, Sanheim, Braun, Adder, York, and Sealer. They make up $25 million. You have Ellis, like I just said, who's 31, has a cap hit with 5 years left at 6.25. So that's a good amount of change. And obviously the Flyers right now, they're over on cap, but a couple contracts have to come off. Obviously Fedotov, he won't be playing. So he'll have to come off Farabee. He will most likely start on LTIR. You have to, once the season starts, you can activate Ellis to LTIR. So there's other instances of this too. But as for the defense, right, as I said, $25 million. Provorov, who's 25, he has 3 years left on his deal that he signed back in 1920 at 6.75. Ristolainen, who's 27, signed the extension, 5.1 for 5 years. Deangelo, who's 26, 2-year deal. With the extension of the trade, $5 million. Sanheim has 1 year left on his deal that he signed a few years back at 26, and he is making $4.6 million right now. He'll be a UFA after this year. That is the biggest contract the Flyers have to get done going into the following season after this upcoming year. Then you have Braun coming back at 35 on 1 year, $1 million. You have Adder, who's 23, on his ELC. He'll be an RFA after this year. Cam York, who's 21, on his ELC, and he'll be an RFA after this year as well. And then you have Nick Sealer, who signed a 2-year deal, who's 29 at $775,000. So again, you have a good amount of talent here, and you have a good amount of players. Just starting out with the Provorov and Deangelo pairing. Provorov and Deangelo, I think, can work out, but I'm a little skeptical. I think more because of for this whole reason of for Carolina, right? Carolina always had the puck last year. And Carolina played a really good structured game. And they were first in dump-ins, first in retrievals, had a top 15 power play, actually had the best penalty kill in the league. Now, Deangelo does not play penalty kill. He doesn't really do much of that. And, the defensive side of his game has kind of lacked. And he's mentioned that. He said that there are different things that he has tried to do, and he wants to work on his defense. So that is something to keep in mind. And again, I like that because again, it's a short-term deal. It's only 2 years. Yes, it's $5 million. It's too much to be third pair, but I think it's a little. I guess you could say I kind of feel like it's going to be good because he's 26. He can still kind of grow into that. And I think a lot of the right system, right type thing can happen now. Will he put up the same amount of points? I don't think so. I'd like to think right now Deangelo can probably be in that first power play quarterback. I feel like you could probably throw him in that area. I know, you could keep it to where Provorov and Deangelo run the same power play unit. I don't know if they'll do a 2 defenseman unit because they have so many guys that could do it. You have Provorov, you have Deangelo, you have Sanheim, you have York. You could even put Adder back there at times if you wanted, right? So I think there's a lot of different areas of this. Now, again, as for Adder, I don't think he'll make the team out of camp. But again, I feel like Deangelo is that guy. Now, with the Ristolainen and the Sanheim pairing, look, Sanheim's coming off a really good year. Again, he had very solid season. 80 games played, 7 goals, 24 assists. He was +9 on a really bad team. So that kind of shows you how good he was playing. I think and again, you could see it on the ice. He got a lot of confidence from playing with Ristolainen, playing with that pair, getting comfortable. And, the way he rushed the puck up the ice, the way he was moving, and it wasn't just the way he was doing things, it was the way he was doing it consistently. And when you're doing things consistently on a bad team, it's definitely something to notice. And he was one of the more positive things towards the end of the year. Now, making it 4.6, if Sanheim has any sort of deal in place, right? And if he has any sort of season like he did this past year, he's going to get probably north of 6.5 or around that. So that's kind of where I look at that. I mean, he's probably going to get around $2 million bonus from what he's making now. So he'll probably make 6.5 on his salary. That's at least where I would at least pencil him in at if he has another good season. Now, obviously, he could take things a step further, but, again, a lot of things have to go right. And Ristolainen, I feel like he played well throughout most of the year. I'm not the guy that bashes Ristolainen every time he plays. Now, him making $5.1 million is a lot of money, but I'm not going to sit here and bash Risto every time he steps foot on the ice. He's not a horrible defenseman. Is he overpaid? Yes, but I don't think he is horrible. And again, I think in the right situation and in the right system and in the right environment, I think Ristolainen can kind of shine. As for York and Braun, York I'm perfectly fine with. I think he makes the NHL. I think he is your fifth defenseman. And Justin Braun, perfectly fine with Braun coming back at 1 year, $1 million. That's perfectly fine. But again, going back to York a little bit, again, I really liked how York has kind of played. He kind of has that kind of California cool swagger to him, and I really like that about him because he from watching him back in college, the way he moves the puck up the ice. I mean, look, he wasn't really given the best opportunity last year. Look, he played with Keith Yandel, and Yandel wasn't the best player, but I'm sure that did a lot for him, and just growing, right? So I feel like overall, again, he's 21 years old. He also is coming off of the ankle injury that he had. So I think there's a lot of different things there. So again, there's so many different things. But if Ellis can play, then that slips Provorov with Ellis, Sanheim with Deangelo, or you could even do Sanheim still with Ristolainen and then Deangelo plays your third pair, but again, it makes $5 million. So either or Ristolainen or Sanheim is going to be making 5.1 or $5 million and going to be playing your third pair if Ellis is healthy. So obviously it's not the greatest scenario because you just signed Braun for $1 million, but I personally don't think Ellis will be seeing much of him this upcoming year. But again, a lot of things have to go right for this unit. And Provorov, who had a tough season, he had 79 games played, 9 goals, 22 assists, 31 points. He's minus 20, and all that stuff happens at the end of the year, right? So I kind of look at this defense now. I'm not too worried about it. I'm very curious about how Shaw and the coaching staff are going to kind of mold the way that they want this team to play defensively because they have to get better in front of Carter Hart. Tortorella knows it. He said it. It's one of the main things that they have to do, and Hart had a better year last year. They just were not as good in front of him. And if they can do that, they will be a better team. So I think you have some of the right pieces here. I just don't know, essentially, how it's all going to play out because you have the Ryan Ellis thing. But one thing I will say is that I do think this team will be harder to play against. I just don't know what extent that'll be to, if that makes sense. But again, I feel like the deep pairs are pretty much set unless the Flyers do anything else. I don't think they will. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section on what you think the Flyers will be doing this year and kind of how their defense will be shaping out for the 2022-23 season. Again, thank you so much for watching, and if you're just clicking upon this video and you want to subscribe, please consider it. I really do appreciate it. I really do appreciate all the support as always. Yeah, I will talk to you all again soon.